Hi everyone, my name's Georgina Kreutzer and welcome to my second mixed media tutorial on Strathmore's toned paper. One of my favourite things when creating art is playing around with rendering surface textures, and I love the contrast of sleek polished metallics and rusted patinas. I'm going to run through a tutorial of both, first a step-by-step video of a metallic surface, and then a time-lapse of a rusted patina, and explain my thought process as we go. So here I'm using a Roymax soft pastel. It doesn't have to be this particular pastel that you use, but I particularly like this style of pastel as it blends beautifully. I'll just speed it up here as I'm just blocking in some highlight. And the first thing we want to do on this metallic emblem is put out our highlights and start blocking those in. And this is such a beautiful soft pastel that it can be easily blended with a brush, as you can see here. And I like to use that to just block in those first colours. And next I'll grab some colour and start putting that down over the top, also in soft pastel. And you'll see how beautifully they blend together. Now this brush is actually nothing too special, it's just a Winsor & Newton watercolour brush that's quite old, and I like to hang on to my old brushes to use them for this kind of thing. And so here we are adding on some orange pastel just to warm up our base colour. And blending that in again to our white pastel underneath. It's such a therapeutic process. I hope you enjoy doing this kind of thing. If you haven't used pastels before, you'll find that they can achieve beautiful, beautiful surface textures. Now this is Mikador's fixative in workable matte. And I just apply this each time I do quite a heavy layer of pastel, and as you can see it dries very quickly, and quite quickly after putting down a layer you're able to start working again, start layering up more details. This is a white charcoal pencil, and what I want to do here is fill in some of the highlight that need a bit more crisp detail, so filling in those edges and the smaller details. Once again, as I didn't mention before, you can find our reference image in the sheets on the Strathmore website. Now our highlights once again are coming from the top right corner, so that's something we want to be aware of throughout the duration of our drawing. And just here I'm putting in some blue to counteract the highlights on the top right hand. I particularly like cool colours in replacement of just dark colours in general for shadows. I think there's a bit of an allure of the final drawing when there's blue that's counteracting especially what is a warm coloured object. So this golden emblem that we're drawing, at the end you'll see how the blue really actually makes the warm tones stand out even more by contrast. So I'm taking a dark red pencil and I'm just going to be refining where the edges of those highlights are going to be showing through and sketching around the details on our emblem. So here I'm just kind of mentally processing where I want to be drawing. And making quick sweeping lines using my wrist. Using that same colour, I want to block in the first shadows of our lettering. And just once again with quick strokes, colour that in. I'll just go through and continue to do that until all the letters are done. And now I've taken a dark water-soluble pencil. This is a Faber-Castell watercolour, and I'll just work in from the bottom up. Something I should note is that the pencils I've used so far have all been non-water soluble. So because these letters are indented into the metal, you would find a shadow line on the top right corner in contrast to the highlights right next to them. So I'm going to be putting those in, and we're slowly going to be building up the details that are going to make this image pop out from the page. It's paying attention to these small details that's going to make all the difference in the end. So taking a water-soluble brown pencil, I'm just going to be filling in some colour around those letters and around the emblem in general, putting a little bit over the earlier pencil. And here we'll be putting down some watercolour water for the first time and blending those colours together. And this is when you really start to see the first smooth rendered qualities of the final drawing. It's important just to put on a little bit at first, particularly if you're not quite sure how strong the pigment is in the pencils that you're using. Obviously you can always add more, but you can't take away once it's there. And just using the sharper edges of that brush, blocking in those colours, taking care around the details. I've grabbed that non-water-soluble pencil again. This is a Faber-Castell Polychromos. I particularly like them because they sharpen to such a fine point, and they stay sharp for quite a long time, especially if you're only applying a gentle bit of pressure. And I'm just bringing some refined qualities back to what we've just put down, the watercolours that we've just blended. And here I'm just darkening up those letters again, just layering and layering, and that's what we'll be doing for the remainder of the tutorial. So feel free to slow down and go back at any point if you're drawing along with me. And we'll just fill those in bit by bit. Now this is a reddish-brown watercolour pencil from Mikador. And as you can see, I'm actually sticking to quite a simple colour palette, kind of reddish browns and then blues. And I'm just working this around where I want to apply some more water later to keep blending in those reds. And in the same way as before, I've just added the water, and here you can see the result. It's really starting to darken up. And so I've also added a bit of shadows there that were missed videoing. But it's really quite simple, just adding shadows on the opposite side to those highlights. Now, unlike the larger letters, these small letters are popping out from the metal, so I'm just adding a bit of colour to the top of them to show that a bit more. And here I'm warming up our previous pencil by adding some yellow tones. And this is a non-water soluble pencil, so it's just going to sit there, whether or not I apply water over later. And then I'm darkening and enriching those colours further with a deeper yellow. Again, a non-water soluble pencil that will sit over the top. This is a deeper yellow again, a tan brown. And I want to just be shading that in just over where those highlights are on the left-hand side. Now I'm taking a water-soluble pencil, and I'm just putting this over some of the highlighted areas. And note that I'm always putting the pencil strokes in the same direction. It just makes for a smoother looking render when we finish. And now I'm putting some watercolor pencil over the top again. And here's the result when water's applied. It's starting to really smooth out. This mixed media paper by Strathmore's particularly good because it's so heavyweight that the paper doesn't buckle when water's applied. It can be layered up, and you can use an eraser and it won't damage the paper surface. It's a truly fantastic smooth paper to be working on. So this is an acrylic paint. I've just yet again got an old brush, and I'm just applying that to the areas of the most intense highlight. I've watered down the acrylic just a little bit, so as you can see, it's not really thickly applied, and it can be smoothed out where it needs to be. And so using some broad, straight motions with the brush, we can just blend those into the previous pastel and the pencil underneath. I'm using a really fine-tipped brush with a small amount of acrylic applied. I just want to really show those highlights around the lettering. And this is what's going to really start making the image jump out from the page. And this requires a bit of patience and practice. Obviously, if you do make a mistake, you can grab a Q-tip or something to wipe away the acrylic, or you can just paint some dark over it. There's really no rules. I'm now mixing up some Mikador Aqua Painter. This cerulean blue color I particularly like because it's so vibrant. And I've just mixed it with some of the pastels. So as you can see here, there's a really beautiful light blue color that's starting to show, especially over those highlights. And I'm just starting to blend Aqua Painter over the top of our existing drawing. Now this part's something that often gets neglected until the very end, but adding shadows around the edge, so the image is not just flat on the page, it truly looks like it's going to start standing out when the image is done. I just used graphite pencil blended with a tissue. Really quite simple. Here's the final image, our metallic emblem. In part 2 of this tutorial, I'm going to be showing you a patina emblem. A lot of the steps are actually quite the same. It's more the details we do at the end that make it look more patina. So as you can see, I've already put down a bit of that pastel highlight that we did at the beginning of the previous drawing, and I've already blended it. And now I'm starting to go around those details with the same pencils as before, and just slowly filling in all of those spaces. It's really quite a therapeutic process, especially if you put on a favorite record or sometimes Netflix or audiobook. Taking that same brown from before, I'm filling in the lettering on this emblem, as well as that iconic emblem in the center, and the small letters below. At this point, it's just very simple, very easy to follow along. And that's that white pastel pencil, just to refine the highlights again now that we've put down the shadows. And it's really going to be a game of alternating between highlight and shadow over and over. Except this time I'm going to be paying attention to the blue and red colors and where they're positioned. And I'm going to be quite conscious of a rainbow effect, because something quite beautiful about patinas can be a sort of petroleum effect in the rusting of the metal. And that's something that we can achieve here if we pay attention to blues and reds and how they're placed. So again, the reference image is going to be on the sheets you can download from the Strathmore website. However, as you can see, I haven't really paid close attention to them. And I encourage you to not get too angsty about getting the details exactly right on whatever reference you're looking at. Give it your own spin. You don't need to copy exactly what's there. And so putting in those highlights again, I think this pastel pencil, especially when it's sharpened to such a fine point, is one of my favorite tools to work with. And if you find that it's a particularly soft pastel that you're working with, make sure that you do invest in a good fixative spray. And a good tip I want to give is hairspray actually does a fairly good job if you're doing this on the fly and you don't have a proper pastel matte fixative on hand. I wouldn't recommend it if you want archival quality artworks, but it certainly does the trick if you don't have anything else. So what I'm making sure to do is that we've got highlights around those details, and really you just fill in color, kind of patchwork your color around the rest of the emblem. What I want to be doing eventually is concentrating blues down the bottom and yellows and reds towards the top. Because our highlight's on the top left this time, as I said before, I like to use blues as a shadow, and so I'll be concentrating them on the bottom right. And here we go, going over the shadows again and again in those details. And all I'm doing is darkening up the existing color that we've laid out in really soft, gentle layers again and again, just to slowly build up our final image. And if you wanted to use a water-soluble black or dark brown for those letters, as I did, at any point you want, you can get a fine paintbrush and darken those up. There's no particular order to doing this, just so long as you're mindful of making sure you pop down a fixative if you are doing layers of pastel and you don't want to smudge them. So this is probably my favorite part. I'm taking a really fine paintbrush again, and I've just dipped it into a watered down acrylic paint. And now I'm just adding on kind of little dents and scratches in the patina on the surface, and also really sharpening up around the edges. And here I've kind of slowed it down to real speed to show you how that looks. It's really just randomized small bits of white where the light's hitting the surface of the emblem. And you can do this for as long as you wish, just being mindful not to overdo it. Make sure that you've got a white edge along the top left of your emblem. And you'll end up with something looking a bit like this. And there you have it, a patina emblem. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you for the next tutorial.